No.
From what we can see over the hill. So they're in good pressure, just pulling 3 strings. When I say good pressure, I mean
he's not at full mainsail depth quite, Warwick, so he's thinking that it's...
Yeah.
I'm not sure that he shouldn't be a little deeper, but...
Well, it's tricky. I mean, for me, just from what I've sort of learned with Ash and stuff, it's sort of like if you're pulling 2 strings, you know, consistently, you want to be, appliances in the tide out of shot. There'll be someone getting caught up.
Yep.
So that's a bit of the new boys on board with Brett. But yeah, when you're always at 2, you know, you want to be really deep, and then once you're pulling 3, it doesn't look too bad. But I suppose that's the advantage that, you know, the Yamaha had, being able to change gears from the wing, which I think I do know there's a few boys looking at implementing that later in the year, which makes total sense, right?
Yeah, of course, allowed to do it. I mean, you think his mainsail could be a little deeper all over, and be of benefit.
Yeah, right.
Just
pretty round at the bottom of that. But anyway, look, we did a piece with, or I did a piece with John Winning earlier on. We might just go up and have a little look at the Yandu and just run that piece, Chits, in a little minute and see how that comes across. Just something we've implemented for the first time this weekend, and hopefully we nailed it and got that right, and bring you some more pieces of interest with different characters around the boat park, and a little bit of background stuff. So James Doran having a better day than last week, but he'll do very well, I think, James, this season.
He's looking determined about it.
He's a good operator, right?
Yeah.
So in second place, real stalwart of the class, and just a great contributor to so many areas of sailing and yachting. John Winning on the Yandu, which is in sailing terms and equestrian terms a pretty famous branding. It's been in the family for a long, long time.
So he looks more powered up to me than the Smeg, Warwick.
So yeah, so Chits is just going to cut across, and we'll see it on the monitor, Bucko. That's a little piece I did with John earlier in the day.
Okay.
John Woody Winning, here for another season, mate. What number's this?
I think first season I saw was with you in 1974, wasn't it? In the Valley.
Is that right?
3 or 4, yeah.
Oh, I don't even remember that. Yeah, okay, there you go. But you've done...
Leonard Arthur Burke and Graham Cole, yourself and Shipway, I think. Well, maybe he wasn't. It was only a 4-hander.
Yeah, that'd be right. So, but you've seen a huge transformation in the class, you know, going back from, you know, those days of 4-handers, wooden skiffs, the far boats, you know, through to the boats we have today, and you've tasted every single one of them. I mean, do you have a preference from an era, or you sort of just enjoy each progression?
Well, I guess I've enjoyed every part of it. I suppose the worst were the 22'6" wings. I thought the boats were terrific up to about 18 feet, and then things just got a little bit too ridiculous, and the maintenance, the lifting them in and out of the water, if they capsized, you're virtually impossible to get them up. It was pre-carbon fibre masts and that sort of thing. The masts were enormously 40 foot long, and you could hardly lift them. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of pleasure in that, and that was when I had the sort of 8-year holiday, apart from the fact I had kids.
Yeah, well, that's right. I don't think the kids would have stopped you, but no, but yeah, I do remember. I mean, I don't think I oversailed one of those. I actually didn't do a heap of 18s, as you know, so I went off car racing.
But pretty lucky.
Yeah. I used to come and have a guest appearance every now and then. But yeah, they were tanks, those things, and as you said, pre-carbon. I mean, my God, just you needed a crane to get them in the water. But these things now, it seem so reliable, so efficient, and it seems to me it's almost even though it's still a box rule on the rigs and so forth, it's almost becoming one design.
It's very close to one design. There's not a lot you can do, a little bit of fiddling with the sails, and but once they say there's tack points that on your boat, but they're easy to maintain. The 4 rigs, you go all season, you're 1, 2 and 3 are going, or you're 1 and you're 4, and then you get a series with one rig you had that wasn't as good as the other that you'd hardly used all year. That series has 4 of those races, and it was all over. Apart from the fact, 4 times the work. The base where they had 3 fins, 3 booms, 4 spinnaker poles, 4 masts. But yeah, it was, just ridiculous.
Yeah, there was the excess of the 80s, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean,
exercise in seeing how much money you could waste, really, and there was less pleasure.
And it really didn't do anything for the racing. I mean, now the one thing I notice is that, the young guys coming through, I mean, obviously, their skill sets are quite high from the training they get, but given the boats are a lot more reliable, they're getting time on the water and sort of, getting their stuff sorted out maybe a little bit easier.
Yeah, well, in our boat, we don't need, well, we probably do need to train, but we need to rest during the week, not be out sailing every day. But I put my boat away last race last season. I towed it to where I keep it, then I took it out to my farm and put it in the shed. I didn't open the trailer till last Sunday morning. And we put the boat together and we went sailing, and I put it away on Sunday night, and I got it out again this morning. But, there is just so little work to do. If you do the work properly to start with, yep, and you don't trash the boat, all the time in our boat is on the water.
And that's one of the good things with the class now. If people are looking to get into it, let's say, step out of 29ers or cherubs or, maybe 16s and those sorts of things, that maybe people overestimate how much work is required. I mean, obviously you need a committed team, but there's help out there too, though, right?
Certainly, yeah. And nearly all the fittings are off the shelf now. Very little stuff you have to get made up one-off. Yeah, and the young guys sort of like to fiddle and reinvent the wheel and that, but at the end of the day, they finish up coming back to the norm. Excuse me, but that's, it's been developed over a long time, even in these boats. Most of the things have been tried before. Every now and then someone gets a little win, but I haven't seen too many outrageous new ideas that have paid off.
Yeah. So we've got a little bit of a changing of the guard. We've got some new young blokes in here, which is good to see.
Yeah, well, let's hope. I mean, young Phil Barnett, he's 4th generation 18-foot skiff sailor, although with I'm not even sure.
Yeah, Kirk Mitchell's taken over the has taken over the Noakes Youth, and Daniel Barnett it is. I just went and had a chat to them.
Well, they jumped out of the start last week, and I think they were in front. There was nothing wrong with them. I think they must have had a little bit of trouble on a couple of corners. That's the one thing that the 29 and the 49, they are still a very powerful boat. And the young guys, when working that spinnaker sheet, got to be careful they don't go through the block, be able to get it back on. But they get the hang of it. It's just a way of doing it. And just used to, bearing away and those sort of things, you just have to be careful. Sometimes you just wait that extra couple of seconds till the time's right. If you just go...
So you're giving them a sailing lesson now, if they watch it.
Yeah, well, anyway... It's a long time getting out of the drink. You lose a lot of time when you have a swim.
Anyway, Woody, it's been good to catch up and good to see you back here. You're doing so much for the class, and it's really, really appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you up there again and maybe getting another podium as you did in the Nationals last year.
One day, maybe, yeah. I don't do any of it that I don't enjoy. That's the main thing.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks for chatting with us, mate.
Righto. I'll see you on the water.
And this is a windward leeward section, Bucko, so full VMG run basically all the way down to the bottom. It's almost like ocean racing or long distance racing, that's for sure. She ain't sprint races.
It's not a sprint, is it? It's a mile and a half.
I don't know how long we've been going now, but John Winning, who we just had, he's still in 2nd place, but has to go to a further mark. He has to go to the centre mark, what we call Mark 2. So this is all going to, it's a bit of elastic band, isn't it? You know, Woody caught back up to the Triple M, but then they've got the jump again. But one thing for sure, Bucko, that we know is if you can get pressure when you come around the top mark here at Rose Bay, these boats can carry the pressure with them. And I do see a little bit of pressure up there near Wallara Sailing Club and the beach.
Yeah, in this wind speed, if you can find a path, you can live near it, in it for quite a long time.
Exactly.
Boats going downwind at about 10, 11 and VMG of about the same speed as the path, so you can stay in one puff for a long time.
And like Triple M, it's out of shot. What do we, if we can get the pole out of the way there? Blake and, well, yeah, exactly. Well, I kind of can't at the moment, but we'll work on it. Yeah. With Triple M, I just don't want to interfere with these fins. You might see Jay Harrison out here. You're on, mate. Or our on, mate. But yeah, Triple M very soft. Just one string there for a long time.
Yeah, he sailed without wind for quite a long time. And
now Yander's around, Bucko.
Yander's around on a good squall,
yes.
in a relative sense.
But look, I don't know, you probably can't see from when you're sitting. Maybe you can. There's just a little path just to the left of them.
A beauty. If he can get the chute up, he'll be squirting along.
Yeah.
There he goes. He's good. Good set.
Yep. And
in the puffs. So you watch how long he stays in it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly what we're saying, wasn't it? So they're coming down where Triple M was one string, they're two strings. So that's how much more pressure they've got at this point, and bow down.
They might be having to think about the fin fleet, but it's a great bit of air.
Yeah,
for sure.
They're on port, and all these fins are on starboard, but he'll whip around the back of them. So what else do you see? What do we got?
Well, there's not much, the rest of the pack coming up. But let's just mention the ocean racing, because Sydney, the yachting season has started with a bit of a bang.
Bass.
So the ocean boys had it. Woody's given us some help here.
We've got a rope over the bow, apparently, Chits.
So the boys had to do, the ocean racing boys had
love it.
Had a race that took them first of all to Newcastle, so 70 miles north of Sydney.
Yeah.
Back to Bass Island off Port Kembla, so 45 miles, 115 mile leg.
Where is Bass? I know Flinders, but
yeah, it's just next to it.
Right.
Basically. Okay. It's safer.
Yeah, well,
safer than Flinders.
Have that happen again.
No, exactly.
Happened.
So they got the TPs and so forth, got to Newcastle, basically coincident with a cold front with a nice squirt of rain in it at about 2 in the morning.
Right.
Start at 6 o'clock in Sydney, and had a bit of a tough evening with number 4 on a reef, I hear, for a while.
Yeah, right.
But
I went up, had a look at. She wasn't flat water, that's for sure.
No, they
had
had
a headland and saw some of the strugglers going past about 4 p.m. on Saturday.
I had a bumpy old bash, laying the coast on port, hard on.
Yeah.
And Matt Allen's new.
Yeah, the new Witchy Barn.
The president of Yachting Australia is Australian Sailing, as it is now.
Yeah.
They won the race on IRC by about an hour from the previously successful Celestial, Sam Haynes TP52.
Well, that's nice for Matt to come out and have
absolutely. His first real race, so he'll be pretty happy today, I predict.
So the deal with that boat is he's got a new hull and appendages, but then he's kept his rigs and stuff from the other boat.
Yeah, but he sold the other boat, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Well, what happened was that older boat had an original rig.
Yep.
So that went with it to the new owner.
Oh, okay.
And he built an inshore rig and an offshore rig, so he's kept those.
Oh, okay.
And that's been slotted into the new hull. It's actually, I went and had a look. It's quite different. It's a lot more rocker in the new boat. A lot more rounder in the bilge.
Yep.
Which is quite interesting. All right, so just out of shot, we've got Lumix. They're around. We might just sit here and let all this sort of come to us, and we can watch as they come down. But I think Yandu did make a gain on Triple M, which is out of shot at the moment, but not enough. Triple M's looking very, very comfortable. So, Bucko, from memory, I think you might have the courses on the back of that sheet you've got, but I think they go to the bottom and then finish up at Clark Island, don't they? I don't think they come all the way to the top again. If they do, it's going to be a long day.
Sorry, guys,
Roger.
I beat to the top and runs at finish. So,
Still a long way to go.
oh no, it's a big beat, particularly with the tide flooding. So one more big long beat and then a short run of about 0.5, 0.7, 0.6 of a mile, 0.7, something like that. Shortish in these boats.
I don't know if you can pick it up on screen, but that cloud has come back in again, Bucko. Remember, we saw blue sky not that long ago, and there is a bit more cloud rolling in. Not as dark, though.
Yeah, pretty impressive looking weather map overall. Was the cold was a sort of a system of fronts all joined together, one end of which is over, at Stewart Island in New Zealand, and the Bureau's map this morning got the other end of the cold front off sort of Karratha in WA. So a cold front with a warm occluded section in the middle that extends for about 3,000 miles.
Really?
Yeah.
Haven't had a look.
But fairly weak radio.
So really, the first two have absolutely shot away. And then big gap back to Line 7 logoed boat, which is Quality Marine Clothing, then a big gap back to Panasonic Lumix, and then to the Compass logoed boat at this stage, which is Finport Trading, and then it sort of closes up a little bit of a pack again. So really at the moment the interest is in this mid-pack, isn't it really?
Well, Smeg's done a good job, and they
Yes.
will be perhaps fifth in the handicap type situation.
Then what have they done? I mean, with that scratch battle, what have they done to... Oh, there they are. Okay, they're not too far behind Vintech, but Smeg has been the winner on that one at the moment.
Breeze a fairway right now. Look at that. Look at the jibe angle there. Wow.
So
Up at
new band of pressure coming down with these boats.
Yep.
Who are we watching at the moment? No, if we could... we're on Mojo. We sort of stay on Smeg. So these boats coming down with a little bit more pressure. Sort of pulling just two strings on the Smeg.
Yeah, but that's just his technique there.
Yeah, well, they were trying to get a bit of depth to get behind that mirror.
Yep, as well. You'd think he'd be considering a jibe there. Breeze well in the right at the moment, so he's lifted on starboard jibe.
Yeah, so we might just stay with these boys for a minute. It's just on our bow. Got, what?
That'll
I've got
be
a
Mr.
boat in front of us,
Harrison
mate. I can't do anything about it.
We're right.
So, Jay Harrison in the fin. Afternoon, Jay. Jay Master, travelling the world.
Wow.
He
So,
loves his fins now.
oh, it's a madness. It's a madness.
He just loves the deck. And amazing how many people are doing it. That whole Masters division, it's just crazy. He's too small for it. You need to be a big lad.
Yeah, minimum 100 kegs, I think, mate.
Yeah, well, as you get older, the younger guys that can hike all day and straighter can get away a bit smaller, I think, like the Ainsleys and so forth.
Yeah, but Ainsley was in mid-80s and
Yeah.
full of fitness beans.
That's what I mean, the younger guys. Anyway, so the Vintech trying to first day on the water for the sponsor. Sort of going the same way as Smeg now, and this is the scratch battle, really.
Yeah, I'm
You'd
intrigued.
say Triple M would have the time on them if you could sort of somehow work all that out, but it's not really a fair equation given that you're going to different patches of water at different times.
Yeah, I think we could say that Triple M
Would be the fastest.
fastest in
if you-
principle. Yeah,
if you added
at this
a
stage.
link or something.
And Yandu wouldn't be far off it either, I would
Yeah.
also suggest. So.
Well, I think we alluded to it early in the telecast, Bucko. The Ritz just got richer.
Look at this now. We're looking at
To the
Vintech,
left.
and
Yeah.
Smeg has got into some northeast flow on the other side of the harbour.
Exactly. And now Vintech is about to get it.
It's a 40 degree barrel wave.
Yeah.
It's a simple game yachting, isn't it, Warren?
Oh, yeah, it's very straightforward.
Nice and easy on the camera.
Easy to explain.
Camera cat. Oh, I guess they're happy. They're in pressure and they're in positive tide. So
Geez, it's up and down. That little burst has sort of gone as quickly as it came. Peroni and Nick Daly. You might come round and seen him today. If you come round to your left a little bit, Blake, just on the left side here. Okay. Josh Ponton from the Manly 16-foot Spliff Cup joining him today. We haven't got the other guy, but they're both 16-foot skiff, Manly Skiff Club, and that's good that they come down and have a bit of a yacht in the 18s and try it out. Very different beast.
just have a look at this. Was Quig's trying to run one string? I haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah, right.
Oh dear.
Look,
Oh dear. But suddenly, no wind again.
yeah. Man. This is give you a headache, this stuff.
This would give you one a headache.
If you look over your right shoulder, Bucko, new pressure coming down, but sort of more towards the east.
Yeah. The Smeg over at the headland.
So we're all getting lifted here, about to get new pressure again.
Yep.
That'll be the time to put in the jibes and get back.
Wow, I don't think Quig's one string's too good.
Have to go back and do that VMG calculator again.
I'll do a spreadsheet through the week, mate. Should be right.
Yeah, right. Chit's just pointing out, Bucko, like
Yeah.
totally different pressure.
Problem here.
Ilve and DeLonghi, yeah, we can pick them up. No, we're on Quigs, but they've just romped down here. And now Smeg having to come back to this lot. So we might just slot down and just go and pick up Noni and Ollie Hardis and see how much they're going to come back towards the Smeg, who is on the opposite jibe now. So, Bucko, Ollie is going to really come back to Smeg.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised at what Smeg did, but
Well, but they didn't have a lot of choice, though, did they? They were sort of, you get what you got sometimes.
yeah.
But I think these two have come down with just totally different pressure.
Well,
So if you come on our bow, Blake, and pick up Ilve and Smeg. Ilve has rights, there you go. Ilve has rights on starboard. So Lee indicating to him to keep going, but for some reason, I don't know, Ollie's gone 3 strings to go behind him. I don't know why he had rights. I don't know why he did that, but anyway, so he's come right back into it, and he's right up there with Brett Munster. So he's made massive gains. So
well, just a little pond of northeast, sort of here,
Yeah.
east northeast anyway, at the headland. So
yeah. But then you have to start to wonder, should he be going back? I mean, geez, it's tricky.
yeah, today it's the
This
sort
is
of
where-
day that would give you a headache. Indeed.
Well, for me, Bucko, I don't know, is that like, Ollie's still going down there okay, but maybe, he's made a big gain, he's got a good handicap, if he gets a chance to jibe back and get back in phase with this pack, he could sort of, come out with a really good result. So, just to let you know, Triple M and Yandu, who are a long, long way away from us, like a couple of nautical miles, are around the bottom mark. That's how big the spread is, folks. So I don't think we'll be waiting at the finish today, Bucko, to see the tail enders, which will be running for about another 45 minutes. Yeah, as Chid said, we've got to go to work sometime. Oh, he does.
Yes. Yep.
So I don't really know what to follow here, blokes. How about, do you want to run one of those, the other interview there, Chits? Oh, haven't we? No, we caught up.
Let's go and chase down the snake.
With is it too long to run? Yeah. Well, maybe we won't.
We can't fit it in reasonably.
Yeah. Well, we could run it. I mean, there's nothing else happening, and
There's a lot happening. Look what's on camera.
People can give us some feedback and tell us whether it sucks or whether it's an improvement, and we can refine it.
The last, what was just on camera for the viewers, the last IMS yacht probably built especially for the Royal.
Right.
And possibly one of the slower 50-footers ever built.
Wasn't a great rule.
Well, you know, it was too clever.
Well,
too clever for its own good, mate.
Yeah, but then some people will say it was the greatest rule. Depends who you speak to, I suppose.
Have a look at this, guys.
Everyone's got an opinion. So Smeg
is in good pressure with header, so they're coming to the mark on the right jibe, we would think.
What are we on? Are we picking up? Just looking. Yes, we are. And also Brett Van Munster, man, there is just the angle changes are huge, and Ilve is fairly parked on the opposite jibe. So that's what I was sort of alluding to. You know, maybe for Ollie just to get a chance to get back. You get back in phase, stick with the smart money.
Well, and you know, the Smeg down here looks like he's on the lay line.
Yeah.
Well,
they're three strings, Bucker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. On the lay line, and the appliances as well. Full tilt, full load. So there's the...
About to see the Triple M coming up here. Come around to your left mid-play. Pick up appliances online. And our race leader, Triple M right there. He just went past me. There you go. So... don't get much more comfortable lead than that, Bucko.
No. Not even in the best of days.
Unless you're the only other boat out there.
Well, you know, the old handicapper will subtract 3 off the Triple M. They'll have a bit more to do next week, won't they?
Yeah, well, it's just, yeah, it's the day though too, isn't it? I mean, they've started really well. They were as good as anybody up that first beat, got the shortcut, got pressure, got away, and just kept extending. Didn't have to fight anybody. His closest rival was
declare himself fastest time winner, I think.
Yeah. And if you look over your right shoulder, Bucko, you know, when that breeze shifted again, Ilvo was on the wrong side of the shift and has gone back to where they originally were and given away all of that advantage.
Yeah. So this is persistent shift to left. These boats will nearly lay up here, I think, on the last beat, Warwick.
Yes. Yeah, this will be a quicker beat for them for sure.
Look at look in front of us here.
Like your ocean race on the weekend.
That's right.
One short tack to sea, then...
Look at the appliances now. Can't lay the mark.
Yeah.
Degrees. Rotating a good further 20 degrees here.
So Aaron's done a good job today. Got a couple of guys out of 12-foot skiffs and 14-foot skiffs. New to the class, so that's good. New blood with the right background.
We'll stay with this race, Jits.
Okay, so I had a chat to Aaron Everett in the boat park. We're probably a little bit longer. I didn't have some timing us, but we're just trying to innovate something, and there's not a lot happening here at the moment. So we'll run that and just get a little idea of his new sponsor, his team, and his hopes for the season. I'm here with Aaron from Quality Marine Clothing, a new sponsor to the class, and Aaron's pushed the old skipper John O'Witty off the back and taken over the reins. What's that about, mate?
Year off. Yeah, no, just wanted to take a season off to let the body recover, I think. So I was nice enough to let him do that. So you're welcome, Jono. Yeah.
So you think you're doing him a favour?
Absolutely, yeah. Look at the kid. He's got a smile from ear to ear.
And so how many miles have you done steering one of these things?
We did the track a couple of extra times downwind last week, plenty of capsizing, so yeah, just the one race plus plenty of capsizing practice, but we got that out of the way this week. We're on.
So you're getting a little bit better appreciation of the challenges at the back of the boat versus the middle of the boat?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you definitely get a different view of how it works. A lot of times on sheet I was feeding things back to Jono, and you don't entirely, until you've done all the positions, I don't think you entirely understand what the other guy's saying necessarily. So some things Jono would say back to me, and I didn't really understand it until now that I've actually held the tiller and done the full course. You think, oh yeah, that was why you were saying those sort of things. So yeah, it's good. I think it's good getting different positions on the boat to work it all out.
Yeah, it is, and because everyone's got their own story depending on where you are on the boat and their own challenges and so forth. And as you said, you know, to have been in the centre, I think is a great advantage for someone to step up to steering as well, because you've understood those roles, and then, you know, then as you said, you can quickly appreciate what they're going through and probably fast tracks it a bit.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I think just like in everything, especially sport, it comes down to communication. And I was speaking to Jeff and Courtney, the two guys on board, who are really big on communication this year. I think it'll help us out a lot, just to get an appreciation of what the other guys, the help he needs, and yeah, so that's really what we're focusing on.
And those two boys with you for the season, is that the plan?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So yeah, Jeff's stepping off 12 footers onto the 18s this year, so he's the big end at 100 kilos. He'll be really helpful on bow, and Courtney's coming over from 14s from Western Australia. So yeah, should be some really good guys, I think.
Gee, that's perfect backgrounds. I mean, you know, when I was a young fella, it's, you know, the progression was you went through your junior ranks, and then everyone did their apprenticeships in 12-foot skiffs, and with the goal of, you know, getting into an 18. But, you know, both of those classes are highly competitive and tricky to sail, and so it's just really adapting to the little bit bigger, heavier boat, really, and the third person.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I think, like you're alluding to, there's a bit of a difference between sailing skiffs and just your regular dinghies, which, yeah, I mean, I hope it doesn't sound like an arrogant thing to say, but there's definitely a different style to sailing the boats, and it's good having guys stepping off with already having that background, so it helps a lot.
And also, too, I'd imagine, you know, with that sort of background too, you know, the setups, you know, like talking about, you know, rig tensions, let's say, and saying how the sail set up, you know, set aboard height, those sorts of things, to sort of have a bit of an outsider view can be quite healthy.
Yeah, absolutely, and every year I've sailed on these boats, it continually blows my mind at how much adjustment you've got in not just the sails, you know, the wings, the centreboard. We've got 4 stays on the side, and we were playing around with it with Jono up in Garda, and just adjusting them not that much, the boat completely feels different. So it's a continual learning curve. Yeah, really steep learning curve, I think.
And Jono was saying to me that you guys felt that you were the quickest on the track with the number 2 rig in Garda. Is that correct? At the end, up against Yamaha, which has been the benchmark, really.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, we had Doz on board up there. He was on sheet, and I stepped up to bow to work my hands out a little bit. But yeah, we were really quick. The last race, we sort of went around. Unfortunately, we were over at the start, but sort of matched them the whole way around the course, and ended up going across the line before them. Obviously blown out, but yeah, in terms of boat speed, it was super quick, and those guys are really, really quick, and their boat work, I think, is what's separating them from the rest of the fleet at the moment, and a quick boat. But no, yeah, all that work we did in Garda on the little rig, it helped massively. Like I was saying, just the little things, the little tweaks, not even that much on the stays, and a massive difference, yeah.
And have you written down those numbers?
Absolutely, yeah.
Don't lose them. Copy. You want to get a second set and either put them in the bottom
exactly,
drawer.
Yeah, I've taken photos, videos, you name it. So, yeah, it's good. Got to remember them.
All right, mate. Well, it's great chatting to you, and really good luck, because it's a new project with 2 new guys, and it's great that you've been able to bring guys in from other high-performance skiffs to the 18s, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thanks, and yeah, especially with Quality Marine Clothing on board, the guys have been really supportive so far, so looking forward to a good season.
And just actually, that's a good point. What is it they do, and where can you find that kit?
Yeah, well, qualitymarineclothing.com.au. It's written on our bow pole actually this year, which I think is a new one. But yeah, just on the website, and they do all sorts of marine clothing and customising stuff. So yeah, new business recently. So doing great things.
.com businesses are on the rise.
Best, yeah.
All right, well, mate, best of luck, and we'll see you out in the water today.
Beautiful. Thank you. Cheers. Cheers.
Alright, so we're back on Vintech in 2 views. We've got the mini view and the larger view, which Chitsy is working on. There we go, she's gone. So might have a little look. There's no one to stir behind us. Have a little look at their setup. This is the boat that won the JJs this year, or the last championship, last season. Michael Coxon stepped back on the helm for the weekend. Trent Barnabas in the bow. Ashton Rookland in the centre, and he'll be doing a few of these guest appearances, Bucko, this year up until the Christmas break, and then the plan is after Christmas to try and get 2 qualified people to, that he'd like to finish the season off, but he needs to pull that main on a bit, Bucko. He's got... It's been a while since he's been on the sheet.
They're a bit preoccupied with the ferry.
Yeah, well, that's fair call.
And they've got plenty of wind. They do have plenty of wind, so I think...
Trent back out now.
I think that...
So Chit's saying that the Barnabas family, very strong history in the 16-foot skiffs, but Trent's got a new one for this season. Had Trevor on the helm yesterday. I imagine he'd be interested in getting his young blokes out there fairly soon, wouldn't he? Yeah, so Chit's saying that his son's sailing 13-foot skiffs and doing very well on that, so going through their apprenticeship, and they get the new breeze out the back of the ferry. Always very tricky, this.
Wow.
Never gets easier. So now they're in clear air again.
Made a decent hold, didn't it?
Got to lock that, get that main in, Ash.
Yeah, it's a bit funny. Coco likes to sail with a lot of vang, so I don't think there's too much sensitivity in the main sheet,
Yeah,
you know?
right. I'll be interested to chat with him about that after.
No, I think you'll have had an interesting day.
So Triple M's, just to let you know, is right up in getting into Rose Bay proper now. Huge lead around the top mark for the final time, and then we'll do a short run down to the finish. We'll just stay with his pack here for a while and then do the shortcut. So to me, Bucko, just come round to your right a bit, Blake, you'll pick up Smeg in the distance. Vintech has got a big left-hand shift that the Smeg hasn't got. There's like at least 30 degrees difference in their heading.
Yeah, and there's more wind where Vintech is as well.
Yeah, and Smeg now just tacks. So this is the 2 scratch boats battling it out. Smeg coming back with not bad pressure, Bucko.
Yeah, no, he's in a stream there now.
And I just noticed just to weather, we just picked up appliances online, had another sloppy tack. So, you know, Brett's got a whole new team to the class, so you know, expect those little little manoeuvres sometimes that don't go 100% in the early days. But so we're going to have a cross here soon, and it's a bit hard to tell. I think Smeg might still have this. It's going to be mighty close, so Vintech's come back.
They are quite close. Smeg's are crossing.
Yeah. Well,
So they're Vintech just into the more right hand.
Ooh, the little lefty. Geez, it's up and down, Bucko.
Oh, don't speak too soon.
Yeah, exactly. Don't tear up your tickets on a day like today.
No, I think that's clear. Just.
Yeah.
So still, that's a pretty good going to the Vintech.
Exactly. Well, they just got that left-hand pressure that you're talking about, and they've made massive gains. So now back to within probably 3 boat lengths of Smeg. So it's been a bit of a yo-yo all day.
Yeah.
So looks like there's a pretty good pressure in the right to me, coming down past Point Piper to the Edwards. So they're obviously on opposite tacks, going to opposite sides.
Yeah, this is
the
just a
harbour.
slight overall build, an extra 2 knots of wind, and that makes life easier for the crews.
Absolutely.
Full stretch, 3 strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally will pay, but in this direction to be on this side of the stream coming past Shark Island.
Yeah. So we might just flick up a little bit further up the order and see what's going on.
Straight up wind, what?
Pick up on the Rag and Famish. The only boat I think left with Oldham kit. Oh, Triple M as well, I've been told it's from Oldham as well. That's right, all working together anyway. Definitely breeze has increased a little bit again. Bryce Edwards, Rag and Famish. They're doing a good job against Asco, which is they're just about to cross. And just to recap, we've got Triple M with a huge lead, but I can tell you it's out of shot. They're very, very soft as they get up towards the top mark. Still second is Yan Du. And then it's going to be pretty close with Keegan York and Aaron Everett between Finport. Asco heading out to the right. Just on our bow, Rag and Famish tack. Go back with them. Panasonic's had a bit of a lonely race. No, a little bit lighter than last week. Very different Sunday afternoon here on Sydney Harbour. We might just Blake stay focused just on our bow. We've got Rag and Famish and Asco having a good battle. So this will be maybe the one we stick with at the moment. So that's the closest battle on the water in this area where we are. sort of running a little bit out of phase with each other, aren't they? You know, sort of one's going left while the other's going right. So we'll see how this pans out.
Oh, he's going all right.
So Doro's got Paul Montague, very well experienced hand on the sheet this year. The old colour 7 boat. Marcus Ashley Jones off doing other things, climbing mountains and selling boats and doing all sorts of things. Triple M's around the top mark, and they have just gone. So another cross coming up shortly between Asco and Rag and Famish. I think Asco's made a bit of a gain there.
It just had a bit more wind.
Yeah.
And a bit more breeze.
Yeah, so they're crossing. Yeah, and just right in the background you can see Triple M there, a race leader. They've basically been a race leader all day. How's that Vintech Smag battle working out?
Well, Vintech's over on this side.
Yeah, okay.
Smeg's out in the middle.
So I think Vintech well, at the moment Vintech might have had the upper hand.
Well, breeze back to the right here where we are work, so that northeasterly was very brief, wasn't it?
Yeah. The Triple M's still quite high. Out of shot now, just out of shot there, jibing. What else we got happening here? Yeah, I think Vintech's, unless Smeg had a big shift, I think Vintech's got the better of Smeg there.
They're all in good pressure though.
Yeah, Yandu still not around. No one else is around their allotted marks yet.
Yandu, 2 more little short tacks to, to his mark.
Yeah.
Not much wind up the top.
So Triple M extended, even like on the beat, they've just kept extending, haven't they? Really, they even take the shortcut out of it.
Yeah. Be interesting to see the final finish times, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty spread out. They'll have to start a watch system for the tail enders. So now Yandu is around, clear second. Yeah, the mark thing, it's almost like, Bucko, that, you know, if it's blowing, 18 knots, they're 120 metres apart. If it's blowing 12 knots, they're 70 metres apart. Do you know what I mean? Because it accentuates it when the boat speeds are slower.
Yeah.
So just
we
come
will,
around
we
to your
will,
left,
we will have to
Blake.
get the VMG calculator out,
Just
mate.
come around to your left a little bit, Blake. You'll pick up Vintech crossing Smeg. So that's a scratch battle. So advantage back to Vintech. So they've had a really good beat. Vintech come back and cover. So they've just put in attack. Not come back and just do a really loose type cover thing. And I think just stay in phase with Smeg and try and sort of lock that little advantage they got, lock that into the finish. Not too many 49ers out here these days, Bucko. I remember when we were sailing those things before the 2000 games and even afterwards, there'd be like 20, 25 of them. Steve Quigley just on our bow, hanging in. So I think we'll go down, boys, and follow the Triple M home, do the right thing, and congratulate them for what's been a very solid day. So it's going to get not far short of 2 hours, Bucko.
Yeah, it's a decent old racetrack, and
That's for the leader.
Yeah, with the wind speed down around 7 to 9 on average, I suppose. VMG not that great.
No. I'd be interested to know actually nautical miles, how this course compares to, let's say, the Northeast course or something.
Yeah, I think
It seems quite long.
it's close to the length of the Northeast course, but because generally there's less wind,
Yeah, exactly.
it becomes a bit of an endurance test.
Yeah, it's never a 1 hour 15 race, is it?
No. Couple more jibes left for the
Yeah.
Triple M. Finish line dead downwind of where the camera cat is now. Still lovely gaining encouragement from all this one, don't worry.
Absolutely.
They've had a couple of good races, and
Very good. And they were steadily improving all last year. I think this might be their third year.
yeah, it's yes, exactly. So
And it's that time, isn't it? You understand all the nuances of a different class. Get your team together and understand the rigs and also the harbour. These boys will take a lot of encouragement out of their performance, a lot of confidence out of the way they've put all this together today. So bring us across the line, Bucko.
well, the Triple M started 8 minutes handicap, which is slowly unwound around the 3 different windward marks, going into the last moments of the race. A good victory for them, crewed by James Ward, Adam Gilson and Hugh Oliver in the bow. And they've sailed a pretty good race. They went the right way. Their execution seems to be coming up to the standard of the front of the fleet. And they will be gaining confidence by 2 good handicap wins this season. And
I'm going to come in a bit.
and they will start next week on 5 minutes, so that just puts them in a little more of a contest. And you can see that they're pretty cheerful. About it. So they look like pretty 3 solid lads, don't they?
Fit looking boys.
3 80-kilo men. So they'll probably they're a little towards the higher end of the weight range, which is in the class now. And
I think 245 is the sort of the kind of around that number.
Yeah.
240 is, I think, you're sort of you're a little bit light. 255 maybe a bit too heavy. I'm not sure. We'd have to check all the numbers from previous years, but I think it's around that number, Bucko.
Yep. Yandu actually has come down this last run pretty smartly, in fact.
Well, they look like maybe they just, had a little bit more pressure percentage-wise than Triple M on that run, perhaps.
I think that's correct. Breeze also rotated a fair way, so now back to the right. So we've seen left to right, nearly 60 degrees, I guess, which tells you why you might end the race with a headache.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing was straightforward tactically about today, that's for sure.
That's right.
Definitely a day to have your head out of the boat and to be in phase, and also to be a little fortunate, I dare say. I think, as we said, like coming out of Rose Bay, sometimes if you've got no breeze, there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, that's right.
All right, so I don't think we'll hang here for another 20 odd minutes or 15, what it is for everyone to get down here, but just to wrap it up, it looks like possibly Finport Trade Finance, Keegan York will finish third. Yeah, I think he will, and he'll just be ahead of Quality Marine Clothing, Aaron Everett, that we had a chat with earlier on. And then it'll be Panasonic Lumix, and then sort of, a fair way back Doro and Asco, and then just with the scratch battle we can see in the distance that we've got the feeling that Smeg has got the better of Coco at the moment, but that could all change. So I think we might call it a day there, boys. Hope you enjoyed the program, everybody. Thanks, Chits. Thanks, Blake. Awesome job and great scramble before the start to get all this horse racing set up back to a starting setup, or the equestrian setup. And hope the people in the stables enjoyed our first part of it. And Bucko, thanks. Really enjoyed your company today and good calling. Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.